Were you surprised at all as you were watching the game in the stadium at the look of the Broncos offense with Peyton Manning in the game? Did it surprise you at all? Ran the ball 5 times versus threw it 14. Almost never used a fullback. Peyton was in the shotgun most of the time. This is a little bit different from what we assumed we'd see from a Gary Kubiak offense. Do you think it was just a matter of getting Peyton a little playing time, keeping him comfortable?
Well, I talked to some people about that with the team and players and coaches, and I'll kind of keep this, an anonymity for what those guys told me, sort of off the record, that they wanted him to be comfortable.
Yeah.
They didn't know that J.J. Watt was not playing, so they wanted him to be in a position where J.J. Watt wasn't going to go all hard knocks on him, try to make. I watched those hard knocks people walk around, and I thought after the game, boy, they didn't get much out of this game in regard to playing up Houston.
Yeah.
Because remember, I told you I thought Houston would win the game because they're doing this hard knock series, and they wanted, lively features for it.
Up a little bit more.
They don't play J.J. Watt. They didn't do much whatsoever offensively. They had 2 quarterbacks that kind of just sputtered about. But I told someone watching Peyton Manning, and I got this back, they wanted him to be comfortable. So comfortable was slipping in more of the Gary Kubiak, but having him huddle every once in a while and do this.
Right.
Putting him where he's comfortable in the shotgun. They wanted him to have a good game. Well, what happened was Demaryius Thompson dropped a pass he should have had.
3rd down.
James Casey dropped a pass he should have had.
3rd down.
Norwood went the wrong way on another pass, and I think Peyton and Demaryius on a long pass on 3rd down and 1 didn't have their route down very well. A guy wrote me and he said Peyton looked old. This is a funny exchange. Peyton looked old, and I said, looked fine to me. In the locker room when I saw him, he looked thin. I saw him basically in his underwear for the first time this year.
Did he make his case?
The guy?
Yeah.
No, all he said was he looked old. And I said, well, I was in the stadium. He got passes dropped. He threw a couple that were bad. There were a couple of plays that were probably not run correctly. And I said, maybe if you got off your sofa and reworked your rabbit ears, he wouldn't look so bad. Maybe you were watching static because you can't get cable or something. And the guy wrote back touche or something like that.
There's just an awful lot of critics out there. I mean, I had people not attacking me on Twitter, but attacking Peyton Manning through my Twitter feed that were saying he does look old. After 4 series of a preseason game in a new offense, and he's not playing with all of his weapons. They're judging already. People are so quick to judge. It drives me crazy. And why you would come down so hard on this guy of everybody, I just don't get it, Woody. I just don't get it.
Well, who is the most popular person in every NFL city?
The backup quarterback.
It's not the mayor. It's not the guy who has the biggest company or the biggest grocery store. It's the guy who's the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's the most popular person in every town. I'm looking at his picture because it's on the wall over there, the cover from Sports Illustrated or something. 509 career touchdown passes, and that's kind of old now. But I look at him, and he looks better now than in that. Peter King, who was a guest on your show, I don't know that he... Well, it was
our show.
Maybe
last week.
Maybe your show after what I just read. You'll read it during the break. That it revealed that Peyton told him that he doesn't have any feeling in his fingertips. I did know that in the San Diego game, the night before, he was really sick. He attributed more what happened in the end of the season to what was going on in San Diego, and he did tell us in the locker room after that San Diego game that he was dehydrated, that he had been sick. And he says now to Peter King, if you read this, that he got a real bad cramp in his quad, and that was really what was going on at the end of the season, that it never went away, that it was there. And one of his concerns about coming back this year was whether or not that was going to be ongoing problem.
How it would react,
whether
yeah.
that cramp was, which I think the cramp was more than a cramp in my mind, because I saw his leg in the locker room, and I couldn't.
Did it look crampy to you?
I couldn't determine. Well, no, but I'm going to tell you, I couldn't determine whether it was this leg. I couldn't determine whether they had applied heat to it and it was so red because of that,
yeah.
or because it was red because it was hurt. There was not a scar or a bruise. It was really very red. It was very red. So that quite a bit, and that's what he's saying 6 months after the fact. I haven't talked to him about that. But Peyton looks better now, and players are saying that he has more zip on the ball, that he is throwing it stronger. And we've had 4 or 5 different players, and I talked to Owen Daniels the other night who said that Peyton was throwing it well in the game.
Well, and I noticed the first day of camp.
He was never great.
And I've said,
it wobbles. He always
sure, he's always throwing
passes.
some ducks. But I said this from the very first day of training camp on this show. He looks to me like he's in better shape than I've seen in his 4 years in Denver. I mean, he's slim. His legs are rock hard.
Looks more like
throwing the
Eli
ball with
now.
zip. Yeah.
His body looks more like
Yeah, that's a good
Eli's
point.
body.
That's a
And
good
Eli
point.
was always the thinner body.
Yeah.
The only pass that I had problems with was one to Demaryius Thomas. Well, there was 2. Remember when he moved out of the pocket and moved up?
Yes.
And he was trying to hit
Threw
Owen
it over the
Daniels?
middle. It was an ill-advised pass. It was almost picked off.
Yeah, it was. He had nobody there.
Yeah.
But I think he got caught in no man's land where he couldn't run. He doesn't want to run, and he had no other option available to him, and so he kind of threw it low and maybe thought he was going to.
I thought he did a great job of moving up in the pocket.
Yeah, but there's the one to Demaryius Thomas where he throws him offside.
Yeah.
Not offside like penalty, but he's offside from the right side. He's going left, and he's crossing the field. And that falls into that category of outside the lines. That was one.
Outside the hash marks.
His short passes are no problem for him. That one was a 23-yard pass that was outside the hash mark that was off target.
Yeah.
Now, he did throw one lengthy pass. You know that. And I counted it. I don't remember the numbers, but I went and counted, and I thought it was 45 yards. It was somewhere between 40 and 50 yards. He threw that fine. It just wasn't open. And
Well, people need to understand, most bombs that are completed in the NFL, they are only 40 yards in the air.
Yeah, they're
He
not
can still throw them.
70-yard
No,
passes.
they're 40 yards in the 40 to 42 yards in the air. I know
when,
this.
When was the last time you remember one that was 70 yards? I think I can remember. If you don't, Flacco to Jones for the tie.
I remember that one. That segment.
Yeah. Do you remember one since then where the ball actually traveled 70 yards?
No, you don't
That's
need
a Hail
to throw
Mary
that. Yeah.
pass. That's what that is.
Yeah. That segment's sponsored by John Elway Chevrolet, Colorado's #1 Chevy dealer.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.